With the release of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I'm gonna rank all 10 Planet of the Apes movies. In last place, we have Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Hold on. Hello? Oh, okay. So it turns out this movie doesn't exist. In ninth place, we have Beneath the Planet of the Apes. When it comes to this movie, I really enjoyed that original version. But when it came to this movie, I was super excited for what was to come next. And then we get this movie. This movie wasn't meant to be a sequel. And they had the dumbest ideas in this movie. And I was so confused after watching it. Like, these people live on this underneath the earth. And they're like this kind of worship people. It made no sense at all. And it also made no sense how you end that first movie and then pick up where this movie is. Basically, the plot of the first movie again. It's confusing. The movie wasn't supposed to be a sequel in the first place. And rightfully so. This is a bad sequel and is terrible. But in eighth place, we have Battle of the Planet of the Apes. Now, this movie I like the ideas this movie has in here, and I don't have a trouble with that. It's not a good movie. There's barely anything entertaining in here. Again, the plot points are good, but it's just the way they executed those plot points just doesn't make the story work. We do have better versions of this movie, which we will talk about way down the line, but for this movie, it's bad. Not that great. Could have been worse, though. In seventh place, you have Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. This movie is what Rise of the Planet of the Apes was based upon. And again, really nice ideas in here. I do like this movie, so unlike the ones below this one, I do actually like this movie. But we just have a better version of this movie that I would rather watch. Actually, if you put it into what the third one kind of said, it kind of makes a nice idea for time travel in here too. I enjoy it. Now we have a massive jump. The one I just said was about 3 out of 5. Now we have like high 4 out of 5 to 5 out of 5 movies. Don't hate me, but in fifth place, you have Planet of the Apes. I wanted this movie to be so much higher on this list. Like I said before, I really like this movie. I love all the ideas in here. I love the plot twist at the end. I just love the entire movie itself. The reason why it's right here is because the one higher I like a lot more. My only problem with this movie is that I feel like about the last 20 minutes started to slow down. That's my only problem with this movie. For it to be halfway on this list, but that's my only problem with this movie. Sadly, it cannot be higher because I do like the ones higher on this list more. But in fifth place, we have Escape of the Planet of the Apes. After I watched this movie, I found a lot of people not liking it, surprisingly. I almost gave this movie a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I liked it that much because I like time travel storylines. This movie is that. This movie is a time travel storyline. And I just loved all the ideas they had in here and the way they told the stories of humans being scared of what the future's gonna look like for them. And then with, Caesar being born, stuff like that. I love all those ideas in here. Again, really high 4 out of 5 stars. So was 6th place, Planet of the Apes. Really high stars on here. They're basically battling for each other, which one will take this place. This one ended up winning, but on different days, 6th place will end up winning instead. But in 4th place, we have Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I found a lot of people putting this as their number 1, as their favorite. Some say their favorite film of all time. For me, I didn't quite see that, but this is still a really good film. There's absolutely no problems, mostly with these next 4 movies on here. Just small little nitpicks, but they're not worth diving into because these movies are so good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this movie. I love all the ideas they have in here. We get to see what the rise of Caesar looked like, the virus did to these humans. And when we're at a point where apes and humans are about to go to war, which they do, but that's a different movie. But we get that point, and just that build up to that really works. Caesar basically dying, and someone else kind of revenging him in a way too, by killing all these humans and starting the war. I like that. And like I said, no problems with this movie, and none of the rest on this list I'm gonna have problems with. But in 3rd place, you have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now in my review, I gave some little nitpicks, but they're basically nothing. They're basically have no problem with them. When it comes to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I thought that this was a good sequel to that trilogy and really lives up to that trilogy. I like Noah as a character, and I love what they do with this movie of showing what happened with Caesar and then showing the continuation of that. And we get to see this world with no humans in it, mostly. And I just love that. I love the story in here. I love the new characters that they introduce, and I can't wait to see what they do with this new trilogy. In second place, we have War for the Planet of the Apes. Now, my only complaint about this movie, which is a very small nitpick, is that I feel like they could have taken a better direction to go with the movie instead of them being captured, but very small nitpick. I love all the plot points in here and thought it was a really good close off to the trilogy and Caesar's character. Just everything they do with Caesar himself too, I loved. I loved everything they did, which is why it's in second place. But there is just one movie I liked more. And if you've been following along, you know that number one, we have Rise of the Planet of the Apes. For this movie, for me, I was excited for what was to come next. I watched this movie and I was like, I cannot wait for what they're going to do next with this trilogy. Because this movie made me excited for the rest of the trilogy. Now, the rest of the trilogy is good, but I feel like it didn't match as good as this movie was because this movie made me excited. The rest of the movies, besides 1968, made me excited. And I also love what they did with this movie. It's basically the same plot as Conquest because that's where they got their ideas from. But the humans being wiped out by a virus, showing how these apes were basically tortured, and then Caesar eventually standing up and saying, "No!" It's a very cool moment. And then we get that battle on the bridge and stuff. Movie's epic. Very good start to this trilogy. And I loved what they did in this movie, which makes it number one on this list. But anyways, if you like this video, maybe these ones on the side will interest you too. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys all next time. Goodbye.